Hey now, Mike Shamon here. In this tutorial, I'm going to go over Gravity Forms. Gravity Forms recently updated their backend from their old version to a completely new version. So a few things have changed. The looks definitely changed. And if you want to go ahead and check out Gravity Forms for yourself, just go ahead and click the link below. It is an affiliate link, but I greatly appreciate you using my link to get Gravity Forms if you would like. All right, let's get into the tutorial video right now. Hey now, Mike Shamon here. And this tutorial is going to be about Gravity Forms. Gravity Forms recently updated their backend user interface. I really like this plugin a lot. This is one of my favorite form plugins. Let's get into it right now and we'll see how this new backend works. So I just installed the plugin. I'm right here at the form section. I'm just going to go to add a new form, and you can see these other settings over here: new form entry settings, import, export, add-ons, system status, and help. So we'll go over the add-ons as we kind of go through this, and you'll see what those are and how those work. Let's go ahead and go to add new form, and you're just going to title your form. All right, and then you just click create form. All right, now here is the new backend for Gravity Forms here, and this is quite different from what they had before. So we'll just start up here in the upper left hand corner here. If you see those little drop down, this is where your forms will be. If you have multiple forms, they'll all be listed right here. You got your settings tab up here where you got your form settings, confirmation, notifications, personal data, and then these other plugins right here, these other links right here, these are to the add-ons. So these are where some of your add-ons will come up right here. All right, then you have entries. So that's how many people enter their name and email on your form. So that's where they'll be right there. So you'll find them back there. All right, so over here on this side, we have the preview and update button right here. If you want to search for a field, you can do that right here. And then we have all of our fields in this spot right here. We have the standard fields, the advanced, the post fields, and the pricing fields. And those are over here. So you got your single line text, paragraph, drop down, number, checkboxes, radio, section, HTML, hidden, and page. And if you don't know what these do, that's all right, because I'm going to explain some to them as we get into a little bit of form making here in just a second. The advanced fields, you can see them all right here. I don't want to go through all of them, kind of a repetitive process, and could be a little bit boring, but we can go through all these in just a moment here. Okay, the post fields. You can see them there. This is basically so maybe you want people to contribute to your blog or something like that. You want to post articles from people. Post fields is where you would do those things. So you can just have the title, the body, the excerpt, and then they can essentially post to your website. So that's kind of cool. The pricing fields, that's going to be obviously if you have products and other elements like that. The payment processing are dependent upon what license you have for Gravity Forms there. So we'll go over that too in just a moment. Let's just start off by making a basic form for Gravity. So I'm just going to go to the advanced fields, and I'm just going to go to name. So, you'd have a basic form: name, phone number, address. And then what else would you have? You'd have, where's the email at? Email right here. Email. Of course, email, right? All right, so that's kind of just a basic form: name, email, phone, address, okay? Now, one of the cool things that Gravity did in this 2.5 Gravity Forms update was they actually made it to where, this whole backend is a whole new thing. So, that's awesome in itself. But they used to have multiple columns. You used to have to enter a CSS class. So what you can do now, instead of going to the field settings, and we'll go over the field settings in just a moment, instead of going to field settings and appearance and entering a CSS class, okay, that's the old way. The new way is you just go over here and you move it and you drop it down, okay? So that is a huge improvement upon what they had before, because you had to go track down the CSS class on their website and find out what that was. All right, so it's a huge improvement to put columns right next to each other like this, just at the ease of just moving up and down. So that's a big feature I love. So we got our name, phone, email right there, okay? Now, if you wanted to do a checkbox or something, they have those as well, the checkboxes and the radio buttons. All right, and then they have the numbers. If you just want like a only number field. All right, and then now let's say we want to make this a 2-page form. This is some intense application form, some to that extent. What you want to do is you just want to add in page, and when you add in page, that breaks up the first section here and the second section here, and we'll view this in just a moment. All right, Now, if you did want to title a section, maybe this is part of an application like, this is where you're going to want to title it right here. Okay. And then you can go to general on the field settings. Okay. Field settings is going to be where you change the details of everything basically for that field. So under this one, you can just label it whatever section you want, maybe application section. Spell that wrong. And then you have the appearance down here. So if you have a CSS class, this is where you're going to want to add it for styling and aesthetics. Okay. And then the advanced is visible, hidden, or administrative. So this one has a little bit less options in the field setting here since this is a section, but it also has the conditional logic setting as well. So basically the conditional logic is like an if-then statement. So maybe if they fill out their email and they have @gmail.com, they see this, but if they have @yourdomain.com, they don't see that. So you can enable that right here. So show field if any field is email is Gmail. Okay, so anything with gmail.com will show that, or put @gmail.com. Anybody with an email address @gmail.com will see this section then, or we'll see this particular one. Okay, you need to go to the address field. You need to go conditional logic, and then just do the same thing as well. Okay, so show this field if all the following match. All right, if maybe the email is gmail.com. Okay, so email contains @gmail.com, and I'll show you how this works in just a minute there. So now I'm just going to go to update. All right, now this is on the same page here, and this is going to stay because I didn't press submit, and then see my form updated right there, but I didn't press submit on this one, so this one does not have it does have the conditional logic. Okay, I did submit that one then. Okay, email contains gmail.com. Okay, update. All right, so you gotta make sure you got your vocabulary right when you're dealing with the conditional logic. Contains is exactly, and that's gonna depend on whatever you want. So like I said, show if this field is all or any. So show this field if all the following criteria match. So you can add a number of different things. Okay, so you can just keep going and going and going. So you can have 5 different criteria, 20 different criteria in order for this section to match. So that's what the conditional logic is. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the fields here. All right, we'll go back to advanced fields, and maybe we want to do a signature at the end of this one just to make sure everybody's going to be straight. We got to do a signature. So we just added that on. Now signature is an add-on, and I'll actually go over here to add-ons. All right, and like I said, the settings button right here, you can see the some of your add-ons right here. Okay, but if you want to go to this add-ons right here to see all of them, and once you enter your license information in the settings, you will find you can just download these and install these with one click right here. Okay, so Stripe is obviously for the payment processing there. All right, and then let's go ahead and just see these other ones. Check out HubSpot Square, advanced post creation. All right, active campaign, to checkout. Authorized.net, this is a premium plugin for the Elite license there. Okay, the Aweber, a lot of mailing contacts, okay, contact, coupons. This is going to be for if you have product, you're selling products. Okay, get response. This is my email marketing, and this is the email marketing that I recommend is Get Response. So they have a 30-day free trial. If you want to check that out, it incorporates great with Gravity Forms. And I recommend them if you're doing any kind of marketing or affiliate marketing or internet stuff or anything where you're building your email list. I recommend Get Response. Go ahead, check it out. You can get a 30-day free trial below. MailChimp, don't do MailChimp, okay? Do not do MailChimp because they're free, but they have a lot of strict policies and your account can get shut down. And this was before the last few years, but even before that, if you're doing any type of marketing, I do not recommend MailChimp. Anyways, let's keep on with Gravity Forms here. PayPal add-on is important if you're selling products. Just like I said, the Stripe one's the most important one to me, which is right here. The signature add-on is right here. All right, and we'll go through what you get with what license. All right, the user registration add-on, that's a big one if you're doing sign-ups, any type of form or anything like that. And then, of course, the webhooks. The webhooks is important if you're doing a developer, okay? If you're a developer, the webhooks is great. And then the Zapier add-on to automate processes is a good one too. All right, so that's the add-ons for Gravity Forms right there. Let's get back to our form. So I've added this signature on there. And they also have this cool little one. This is something that they've updated. This is a feature. It's consent. All right, if you add this, and this is really just a checkbox, so you can just make it with a checkbox really, but it says I agree to the privacy policy right there, and you can make it say whatever you want, of course, right here, and you can enter in your description right here. Now, one of the things I did not go over yet, but are the labels. So you can see the labels right here, the field label. All right, and you can toggle those on and off right here. All right, if you go to appearance, this is where you can do your different placeholders. So if you just want to do the first name is first. All right, and that's going to show up right there. All right, and then mid, you can just do M, and then last is usually last. Okay. Now, if you want to remove these labels, you can just do field visibility. You can do hidden, and this is something that this is something new that they've had too. It's about accessibility. So you can read more about it if you go to the Gravity Forms website. They have a Gravity Forms commitment to accessibility. So, and they basically highlight right here what their goal is, you know, and it's the European Accessibility Act and Equality Act. Okay, and that's got a lot to do with it and what it's about. So if you want to read more about that, you can go ahead and read more about it, and they have the accessibility warning showing on field. They kind of go into explain what it is and what it's about and everything like that. Anyways, just know that if you shut something off, they're saying it hinders the accessibility. You know, you can be the judge of that if it does or not. And then description placement. If you have a description, you can define where you want that description placement. All right, the sub placement level. So these ones right here, you can just go to hidden if you don't want those. All right, and it takes those off. And then you can just do above or below if you want. And now that way you just have the placeholders in place there. Now you can see how this form is kind of out of line now. It's because I removed the labels there. So if you want to make sure it's in line, you want to go back to your phone, okay, and the field settings pop up for the phone here. And you just want to make sure you put in your placeholder settings for this and change the visibility options. And this visibility options, that was a thing back in the old Gravity Forms that you needed to do, and you need to go into a code. You need to add a piece of code in the back end. So that's a big improvement, is having that right there as well. And then they updated it before this, but it's a big update to have it right here seen. All right, so we just went ahead and update our form here. If we go to pricing fields, I want to get some pricing in here. So maybe we want to have a product, put our product right here. All right, now you want to go to your settings on this one. And if you're under your general settings here, this is where you can set your price. All right. If you want a quantity field, you can disable that, or didn't want the quantity field, you can disable that. And if it's required, you can do that too. Now I want to show you something cool with this required button that we're going to do. You can see right here, it has that required there. I'm going to show you how to change that in just one moment here. But let's go ahead and go through some of the other things. For the products, if you go to the total, you can have the total down here. So maybe you have multiple products. And actually, I'm not going to require this particular one because this one, they won't let me go to the next step if I have to require this. So I'm going to disable that for a moment, and I'll just require something else. I'll just require the name. Let's see here. Settings required. Okay. But let's go back here to the total. So that lists our total. Maybe we have products that we can select from a drop down. If you need to add a shipping in there, you can do your shipping amount right here. payment processing, you're going to want to add in your payment processor. So I have a Stripe one right here, and of course you need to connect your Stripe to your API keys. Okay, same thing with your PayPal. You need to enter your PayPal address for that. So now that we're to this point to where we have most of the things that we want in our form, we're just going to go to update. All right, now let's go ahead and add our form to the website, and then I'll go through all of these things right here. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my website. All right, and if I go to the text editor, you can see on my Divi theme, I don't know what my form is. So in order to do your form, you need to go to add a new page. Okay, so I just want to add a new page, and then you just want to title it. Well, you don't really even need to title it, and you want to go to add form. Now, once you add the form, you'll select it from a drop down here, and you can choose if you want the title or the form description. All right, and then the advanced options are right there if you need them. But I'm just going to go to insert form, and then it brings up the Gravity form shortcode here. Okay, now this form is form ID number 3. All right, so that's your form ID. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it in my text editor right here on this page, and go to check, and I'm going to save my page. All right, so I saved my page and exit out of it, and now here is the form right here. Now if I just go to next, all right, they need to fill out my name. All right, went ahead and fill out my name. Of course, you could do your radio buttons if you want to, your checkboxes, those how those work. Go to next. All right, and then here is my second part. Now remember, we put conditional logic on those last two things. Key was we need to have an email address that said @gmail.com. All right, so let's go ahead and enter in an email address that is not gmail.com. Then let's go ahead and enter in an email address that is gmail.com and see what happens there. All right, so I went ahead and entered in my email address there, and as you can see, nothing has come up there. All right, now let's go ahead and enter in a Gmail address. All right, boom, and there is my section that has the settings on it there. All right, and now speaking of requirements, let's go ahead and go into the settings, because where does this form go? And here's the signature. Okay, here's the signature. Okay, but where does this form go once you send the form? Once the form's submitted. So if you go up here to settings, back at your form dashboard, and go to form settings, here are all your settings for your form. All right, the title of your form, if you want a description, your layout for your form layout. This is something that is pretty new right here. Okay, your sub placement, the validation. Okay. Required field indicator. So remember how I showed you that text is required. So if you want it to be an asterisk, you can do that. Or if you want it to be a custom, maybe maybe you want something more personalized, like thanks for knowing this thanks is required, or whatever your case may be. Anyways, that's what you can do there. Your form button right here. So if your form button, you can see it's not very stylized right now. The submit button, there's like normal old school like Windows buttons. Anyways, you can change your button text right here, or you can add it as an image. So maybe you have a picture of a button. Okay, and then if the conditional logic is enabled for this button to show up. If you want to enable save and continue, the restrictions, if this is limited to 50 people, something like that, you can do that right here. And then your other form options right here. If you previously had Gravity forms and are in a legacy markup, your backend doesn't look like this, and you go ahead and update your Gravity forms to Gravity Forms 2.5, then the forms that you made with the old Gravity forms, you'll need to enable your legacy markup if you want to edit or do something with the form in the back end of the new Divi. Okay, some of the settings aren't there for the old legacy one. So that is what that is there for. And then once you edit anything, you just want to hit the Save Settings button. If we go back up to the top, you go to Confirmations. Confirmations are where, so the confirmation going to be where is the next step they go after they submit the form. You can do a text message there. You can send them to a page, which I would recommend you send to one of your pages on your website, or maybe maybe once they submit their information, you want them to go to a special offer that you have. So that's where I would direct them to on your website, or if you wanted to go to a different URL, that's where you would redirect them to right there. All right, now if you go under notifications, this is where you would change your email address for whoever receives the email. So by default, it's going to be an admin notification. So it's going to go to the admin email address for whoever is the admin of your website. All right, and it's going to say admin notification in their email. And you can choose to enter the email, select the field, configure routing. That's a little bit more technical stuff, but enter email, and then you're going to put your email right here, basically. Okay. If you wanted the form to have a name when it's sent to you or anything else, the from email. So basically, when somebody receives your form, what's your email address there? So usually it's the same as the admin email. Reply to BCC if you need to add anybody else to your form submission buttons there. And then here's the subject again, new submission from form title. All right, and then there is all fields, and that's going to have all the fields from your form in there. Okay, you can disable allow formatting, and you can enable conditional logic too if you do. And then you can update your notification. All right, personal data is something new that they've added there. Retention policy, trash, delete entries previously. Kind of take a look over if you need to. I mean, I don't really mess around with this that much, but you can do that there. And then, like I said, if you have any integrations or add-ons, that's where they're going to be in the back right here. So like I have get response, and if I need to set that up, I just go to my get response settings and set that up. Same thing with my PayPal, my Stripe. So that is the back end here. And then of course, user registration. If you need users to sign up, I'll be doing another tutorial on Gravity Forms user registration with this interface. But if you want to import and export forms, you can save your forms and export them. So if you just go here to your forms button, actually, let me show you how to do this. You can see here's my Gravity Forms right here. It says I'm active. Okay, you can go edit, settings, entries. But if you go to import, export here, and you select your form, it's Gravity Forms tutorial. And then you can go ahead and select what fields you want to export. You can do that if you wanted to, but download the export file and then of course import, and then you just choose it and choose your file there and import it. All right, there's a few different levels of Gravity Forms. So let's go ahead and check out the pricing for Gravity Forms. They got the basic, the elite, and the pro. Now, I use the elite personally because for one, it's $259 a year, okay, which is pretty cheap. And I'll explain why as I go throughout this. But for the basic, you get the one site and you get the basic add-ons, okay. For the pro, you get the basic and the pro, and then for the elite, you get basic, pro, and elite. So what does that mean? Well, if you go over to this Gravity Forms chart right here, basically the basic includes all your email marketing softwares. Basically, they have the get response in there, they have the Aweber, the active campaign, the campaign monitor, okay, they even have that MailChimp in there. Okay, now the pro add-ons are basically let you to accept payment. So that's basically what the pro add-ons let you do. So if you're looking for the PayPal or the Stripe, okay, you're going to need to get the pro add-ons. Okay, I'm not really sure how many people use these plugins right here. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe the Dropbox one there, maybe the FreshBooks if you're doing some accounting with this. But basically, the PayPal and the Stripe are going to be the big ones. And the Zapier, I forgot. Zapier is a good automation plugin there. Okay, so that's for the pro. Now, the elite one is basically everything else. It's the user registration. Okay, so if you're having people sign up to your website, it's the webhooks. If you're doing any custom development, you're going to need that. Okay, the signature one is really cool. I like the signature one a lot just for like applications and stuff, especially like in your real estate or anything like that. The quiz one's popular, polls, payments pro if you have something different with your PayPal. All right, and then, if you're a bigger company or a bigger organization, you probably have an authorized.net account. So authorized.net, I know, is popular with nonprofits, stuff like that. If you do have one of those accounts, you're going to need to set up a elite account. Okay, the $259 thing, and let me explain that. The $259 is, how do you get your money back from that? Well, if you're making unlimited sites, it's going to be easy to get your money back because you're making unlimited sites. This is something that you can offer with your websites for free to give you an advantage over the competition. For one, this saves in the back end. So all your forms are saved in the back end. The entries button there. Remember that entries button there? This is how you get your clients to get on board with this thing. Hey, don't worry. If somebody comes to your form and you don't get the information, it's saved in the back end, and we have the information in the back end. If you don't get an email and somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I sent you a form on email. I sent you all my information via email or via form," it's in the back end. They don't have to go searching around their email addresses or anything like that. They just come to the back end. They can look at the form and see the information right there for themselves. Now, the other way you can do that is that you can add on elite add-on to a form and charge 100, 200, 300, however much you want. But one of the main plugins I love to do this with is the signature plugin, okay? The signature plugin. People want signatures on their websites. People who have forms, they have contracts from vendors, they have applications they need, people to be truthful on, so they need the signature on there. And this is an add-on, hey, can you do a form with a signature? Sure, I can do a form with a signature. How much is it going to be? Oh, it's going to be $100. It's going to be $150. 1 hour of work. Whatever it is, hey, I can do the form signature. We can do it pretty fast. It's going to be $150 for the form, for the feature, for me to add that code to the form. You can easily make back your $259. Like you can sell an application form for over $259 to a company, okay? So the $259 is really not a thing, but the main thing that comes with the $259 is the add-ons, okay? That's what you're going to want to pay attention to. Guys, I hope you enjoy this Gravity Forms tutorial. All right, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. Gravity Forms is a great plugin to use with WordPress, especially since they updated now the 2.5 version of Gravity Forms. It's a really great WordPress form plugin. If you like this video, I'm sure you'd like some of my other videos. If you want to capitalize on using Gravity Forms for maybe some landing pages or something, I have a whole playlist full of landing pages that you might find effective for your website. Go ahead, check those out. Go ahead, check out one of my other more in-depth Gravity tutorials about conditional logic or maybe user registration. All right, I'll see you in the next one.